you're playing as Supergirl.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
And you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird.
It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. If you've enjoyed Krypton Report, please check out the other podcasts available from Southgate Media Group. From Capes and Lunatics, which is everything you could possibly want from a geek podcast, to Nuff Said, Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks, Titans Talk. If you're like me, you can't get enough of your DC. And you can also check out Super Connectivity, where they discuss everything in comics. Also, they do discuss Marvel. That's something you don't hear much from me. So, check it out, southgatemediagroup.com. All right, hey guys, it's Tyler, and I got a special guest here with me.
My name is Solomon. I will be Superboy. All right, guys? So I am the best.
Yeah, you are. So what did we just see? What did we just watch?
We watched the new Batman movie that's coming up.
Yeah, we just watched the screen test of reveal of the new Batman.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was so cool.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
I like about the Batman suit.
Yeah, you like this suit?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those who don't know, you like Batman a lot, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. You've been Batman for Halloween. You've been Batman running around the house.
Yeah. I've been Batman all the time.
Yeah.
I have Batman toys.
Our first Halloween together, Solomon was Robin and Daddy was Batman. And then by our next Halloween, Solomon was Batman and Daddy was Robin.
And Mommy was Riddler.
She was Riddler.
And
then she was Batgirl. But so Solomon, you like music, right?
I do.
We've listened to the Batman themes. So what do you think about the music in that little video?
I think it sounds like Darth Vader's music.
Yeah, it does sound a little like it.
Yeah.
Dum dum.
Yeah.
Dum dum. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
So it looks really cool, huh?
Mhm. Did it have blood, Dad?
No, it was just red. The lighting was red. Kind of on the cartoon, you know where the sky is red on the cartoon that we watch. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. Are you excited to see it? When it comes out, it'll probably be PG-13, like we talked about. You know, where it's more adults, but kids can see it too. Like, you know, so.
Is it start with the letter R?
Oh no, that's the R rating. So, but Daddy will see it, and then if Daddy thinks Solo can see it, I'll take Solo to go see it.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to say to the listeners out there, buddy?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
So, I like Big Batman. Do you like Big Batman?
Yeah, we're going to watch Big Batman here soon. And for those who are wondering, what's Big Batman? It is the Batman Unlimited Mechs vs. Mutants. We bought the DVD trilogy pack of the 3 Batman Unlimited movies.
Yeah.
And we like the Big Batman one.
Yeah, the one with Bane.
And Chemo.
Yeah.
Chemo? Was it Chemo? And Killer Croc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Clayface.
Yeah, Clayface. I like Clayface.
Me too.
All right. Well, that's me and Solomon hanging out for our laying here on Daddy's bed chat. You guys take care out there. Hey, everybody.
Hey everybody, it's me Solomon. Do you want to watch Aladdin?
We're watching Aladdin, but we're going to talk about something real quick,
Yeah.
Solomon. And Selah. Hold on. Selah, say hi.
Hi.
I want to show you these pictures. This is what the new Batman looks like. What do you think, Solomon?
Good. I like your shirt.
What do you think of the new Batman, Selah?
Like I'm gonna go there. I'm go there, Daddy.
Yeah? What do you think?
I'll go there.
You like his motorcycle?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about his hat, his cowl?
Oh, nice.
Do you like the armor?
What? Yeah. What about the bad guys?
We don't know, buddy. This is the first one we've seen. What do you think?
Yeah, good. Oh, Daddy.
That's the only pictures I got right now. Okay? But what do you think?
He looks so good, guys. Hey, guys, we're watching Aladdin,
Okay.
King of Jafar.
But do you like this Batman, Selah?
The new Batman's so cool. Yeah, I like his bicycle.
You like his motorcycle?
I like his armor, Dad.
Yeah? Okay. See? This is what Batman's all about, people. Kids are excited. We get caught up in stuff. Let's just enjoy it.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superboy.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. It is myself, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, over here on Earth Prime with my counterpart, the man in red, the muscles upon muscles, the bench master, the man who makes me look like a tiny little wet noodle, Mr. James Cole. Welcome, sir.
Well, I mean, I try, you know.
He's like, duh, Tyler, duh. So we're gonna jump right into it. It's been a busy, crazy week for both of us. This episode's coming out a little bit later than what we wanted because we had initially, was gonna record this, but life happens, family happens, children.
Yeah, my kids were sick, and
so we're just kind of talk some stuff. But first, we're just gonna kind of jump in. We got some, we love all things DC. Harley Quinn's going to get season 2. That's going to come out really quick, which is dope, but it's crazy.
They had to have commissioned the full 26 episodes and then just split it up into 2 parts in season 1, season 2.
Yeah, they
That's
did.
Yeah.
Because, animation takes time. Look at how they did Young Justice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we got behind the scenes spy pics of a scene being shot outside for Matt Reeves as the Batman. Okay. So here's my quick thought. The costume, it looks okay. I'm not going to really it looks like a mixture of 0 Year, a Talon, Gotham by Gaslight. It definitely has a stripped down, almost very early on, I don't like to say the word TV style costume where, it's more functional than it is flashy.
Right.
But I also want to point out that this is a stunt double. Okay? And 1, the cape's probably going to be CG'd on for the scene. 2, they make special costumes or things, or they make them a little different for performing stunts. So we don't know the context of what we're seeing. It could be that the pants and everything aren't the bottom style isn't as much of what we're actually going to see in the film because of the stunt that's being performed.
Right.
It still looks better than Gotham's costume.
Yes, that it does.
So I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, I've gotten a little bit used to it, seeing some more spy pictures here and there, but I mean, there's little context, like you said, how it's actually going to look in its final product with effects and during action and things like that. I mean, before they CGI'd everything Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was actually in a suit that had a bunch of gaps missing in the armor. And I mean, it looks goofy when they're shooting it before they add all of the effects. So, I mean, it's hard to say what the finished product's going to be. I mean, I'm warming up to it a little bit. I'm still not like the best. I mean, we just came off of like
99%.
The best suit,
I say the BVS suit is 99% perfection.
Everybody can have little tweaks. I mean, if you wanted to change it up a little bit, if some people preferred longer ears, you could easily change it to, longer ears.
Yep.
The symbol on the chest could be changed. Minor tweaks to it, and most people would be happy. Yep. They could pull their perfect suit almost off of that. And then also the idea is, the suit looks comic accurate, and like he took a gunshots point blank to the back of the head with that. I mean, it looks great, and comic book wise in the movie, it only has to function as you need it to function, as you want it to function, Mm-hmm. So it can look more like a fabric thing, maybe with like the layers of armor underneath, but all the movie has to do is give you that idea that they're there, and then that's what's there, So it's like Under the Red Hood, the animated movie, when they're fighting and he slices his neck with the knife. You see the armor, the mesh armor underlay underneath it, but the costume looks like Ben Affleck's, looks like a fabric costume or something, but the armor is just, it's there, you know what I mean? And that's all it has to be. So I don't feel like a Batman armor has to look like the Dark Knight armor or like this for you to understand that it's an armored costume, because all the movie has to do is present that, and you agree with it, you go with it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, if they're gonna change it to make it look the way it is, then that's I'm gonna go with it, see how it goes in the finished product. But
yeah, I mean, my thing
is that it's just how the movie has to portray it, and you go with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. My thing is, we're looking at the making of out of context. Okay, and they came off an amazing bat suit. They have to change it up. They have to do something different. Like it or hate it, like they needed to create their own bat suit, and it definitely.
And if this is,
it feels like,
and if this is like year 2, like,
yeah,
it could still be early, and his suit can easily change.
Right.
And
my thing is,
excuse me.
It's like, I feel like with the Batman, they're stepping back into a more Nolan-esque Batman, but I would prefer something that exists in a medium ground of Ben Affleck and Christopher Nolan. Like, I don't want to go back to being that too down to earth, grit reality thing to where it's not as much fun. So we'll see. I mean, it looks.
Yeah, it's limiting. It can be limiting. I mean, we don't necessarily need like Grant Morrison's Bat God on screen. Like Batman going up against Darkseid. Like, we don't need to see that, but a Batman that no matter how many times he's knocked down, or what happens to him, how many times he he tends to be one step behind of the villain, because obviously, if you always make Batman one step ahead in every turn, then what's the point? He needs to overcome still. So if he's always one step behind, you seem like he's falling behind, but he comes out on top. I mean, if you try and go too real world and too gritty, then you just, you lose something. You don't get the comic book part of Batman that we really started to receive with Ben Affleck's version, like coming into like the Martha rescue scene. I mean, coming into a warehouse through the window, through the floors, out of the rafters, fighting 24 guys single-handedly and, eliminating them all. So.
Yep. I'm just, it's interesting. It exists, and I'm not going to, I'm not really worried about it. I'm interested and excited for where the movie goes and what they're going to do, but it's just interesting. I'll give them, impress me, like you're doing something, you're going somewhere different because you feel like you have to. So, all right.
Oh yeah. I mean, people are going to say what they're going to say online. The toxic environment, which is Twitter and other places, excuse me, online. So people are going to say what they're going to say, but you know what? The majority of those people will actually end up going to see the movie. How they come out on the other side is one thing, but we'll be there to check it out.
Yep. All right, so we're going to keep on moving, and we're going to talk some Supergirl. Yeah. We're going to talk Back to the Future Part 2. And are you a little bummed that this wasn't like a 3-parter?
Back from the future.
Like it wasn't a 3-parter. Like, come on. You're going to say Back to the Future Part 1, Part 2, but not go full Part 3? But why don't you take us there, James, and give us a little story. What is this episode about?
So this is the 12th episode of the DEO discover the alternate Toyman's consciousness inside their computers as he plans to get into the internet and weaponize it, having used the obsidian lenses to upload his consciousness moments before his death. Alex places the DEO on lockdown while Winn and Supergirl head to the server room. When they get there, they find that the original Toyman's consciousness was also activated as he wants to help defeat his son's evil counterpart. Tracking down Gemma, Lex discusses a collaboration with Obsidian Tech to improve the Obsidian Platinum. Won over, Gemma advises Andrea to take the offer. When Winn confronts his doppelganger's AI, he reluctantly allows his father to buy him time. Winn enters the codes and foils his counterpart's plans as both of their consciousnesses are deleted. Due to what she learned from Brainy, Alex resigns as the DEO's director, causing Lex to swear in Brainy while getting a copy of the data he wanted in order to get them closer to Leviathan. Elsewhere, Gemma has Margot inform the Anointed One that Luthor Corp is in their clutches as planned. While in their loft, Kara and Alex are visited by Mixius Spitlick.
All right, first question. Do you think that the Anointed One or all this behind the scenes is going to be tied to Apocalypse?
Leviathan tied to Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a stretch. I mean, we don't really have any seeds that I can tell that I've picked up yet that they are from Apocalypse, that there's any, I don't know, Granny or Fury. Because if I were to use Apocalypse in Supergirl, I would definitely focus a lot more on Granny and the Furies side of things.
That's
yeah.
next season.
I hope so.
This is the light intro.
What would really be cool, kind of a tangent if they do that and they focus on Granny and the Furies. What would really be cool is the fact that they have people like Desaad and
Godfrey.
I don't know, Godfrey or Calabac or Steppenwolf. Now, we wouldn't be seeing these versions that we would have come to expect on the big screen in the DCEU. But if we got to see some of them and we got to see some of the infighting that are the characters, that the rest of them, how they put down Granny and the Furies for being female. Mm-hmm. That would be a nice infighting for the bad guys. But as it were for Leviathan, I mean, we know that they are alien in origin, as it would seem, with Ramakan. Gemma is also, I believe, of alien origin. I believe that came from earlier, but we really don't know too much about her at this point still. So, I mean, alien in origin, it could be, planting some seeds for that as well, for Apocalypse, but I don't know if that's who is head of Leviathan right now.
Because, I mean, they totally went different than what the comic was. So that was different, but that's cool. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's Leviathan in name only. I mean, I don't know anything about Leviathan prior to its current run, except for at some point, and I don't know how far back it even goes. It was Talia al Ghul's organization. And with that being the case, it's still, she has the same goals in mind as Ra's al Ghul. So it wasn't exactly some kind of
great good thing.
World weary. Yeah. It wasn't a good thing, but it also wasn't like the biggest the biggest global threat when it comes to like Ramakan trying to set off a super volcano and create an extinction level event,
Mm-hmm. So we learn, we know that, in this right now, there's all these new, little inconsistencies and stuff that we have to kind of put ourselves back in the mindset. Andrea has never been the shade shadow thingy that she was at the first half of this season. So
you know what? Actually, I need to look something up right now. Go continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So just trying to things, we're at a point in a lot of these shows where it's getting a little harder to, oh man, all right, what happened? What didn't happen? And so Andrea is kind of taking a huge step back. And in this episode, we have a cool scene with Lena and Andrea, where Lena kind of sidesteps trying to, hey, we have an interface. I heard that you're having problems with your interface. We can work together to get Obsidian to the next level, because we see that the tech you can now eat digitally. But there's an issue where Andrea, reacts almost allergic to shrimp. And basically, Lena offers help, and Andrea wants nothing to do with her. But then Lex steps in, persuades Gemma. Next thing you know, the Luthors are helping out. So it's working in a way. It's very interesting how tech is going to take over and basically destroy everyone. They're basically creating the Matrix is what they're doing, which is ironic because the Matrix 4 is in production right now, which in itself is weird, but that's a conversation for another day. I did really like in this beginning, we have Brainy, like, in a very, what do you call it? Very compromised way of basically Lex is trying to use him to search the DEO, using his Lex bots, little drones, and just what is Brainy gonna do?
Yeah, Lex is aware that Alex. Well, Lex is aware that Alex is Lex is aware that Alex is spying on him via the DEO, and Lex orders Brainy to stop that, to cut her out of looking into his affairs.
And I mean, I feel sorry.
So
I feel sorry for Brainy and just how compromised he is. But I like this version of Brainy. I like the darker version we're getting.
So I like the version of Brainy that he is, and I do like the story of him being compromised. He was advised by another version to work with Lex, that it would be in their best interest to actually work with Lex to take down Leviathan. So he's put in that position. I really hope to see this Brainy move forward once everything is out in the open. Mm-hmm. See this more down to earth Brainiac, mm-hmm. Because he's even more intelligent and is able to actually have a personality. Like when it comes to Alex confronting him over the fact that he was in her in her
file account.
In her account. There you go. I can't believe I couldn't remember account.
Yeah, something like that. Like
when he's in like her DEO account, she confronts him, and he tells her, but he's able to cover well. Before he wouldn't have been able to do that. The inhibitors wouldn't allow him to lie or to be deceptive. So it's nice getting to see him play a different version of the same character, actually being the same character, mm-hmm. Just with some personality changes, some personality evolution to the character. So I did find what I was looking for.
Okay.
In Smallville season 5, in the 101st episode called Vengeance, there is an Andrea Rojas, who is the Angel of Vengeance, the vigilante. In that episode, the episode after Jonathan Kent dies.
I know exactly which episode. I haven't rewatched it because I'm behind on a lot of stuff. If only I could just quit my job and dedicate to podcasting and comic books.
Right. So yes, this is here on Supergirl. We have the second iteration of Andrea Rojas, and I'm pretty positive that at some point this season, I'd have to go back and look. Her in the comic books, her name is Akrata. her hero name, Akrata, and I'm pretty sure they said something to do with the medallion or something that she was searching for.
Man,
I know I heard that in season 5 of Supergirl. So they've used that name as well. I don't know if that's the name of her shadow character or what, but I just recently found out that Andrea Rojas was in Smallville, and I was like, holy crap.
Now we have to go do some more research. Man, James. Always giving us something to do.
Yeah, that's right.
But all right, that's dope. That's pretty sweet. But I liked, in this episode, I liked Brainy's conflict. It was a very small kind of episode. There wasn't a whole lot of, seemed like other people involved. Mainly was at the DEO, and like one or two other locations.
Yeah. This one, just a few episodes ago, we got just 2 episodes prior, we got the bottle episode.
Yeah.
This one was nearly a bottle episode because half of the cast was locked down inside of the DEO.
Yeah, so I told
like
Jania.
That is what you would consider a bottle episode.
Which is funny. That's exactly what I told Jania when we were watching it. I was like, it feels like a bottle episode. I'm like, not that it's
nearly,
bad.
yeah.
I'm like, but look how they're doing everything. She's like, yeah. She's like, you're right. I'm like, I know. It's. I mean, it makes sense, They have to spend their money and on what they can. So this one, okay. But man, I'm just trying to think. The episode was all right. Like I liked it well enough, but it really.
So how are you? Did you enjoy Jeremy Jordan in the last 2 episodes getting to be wild and crazy Toyman Jr.?
He was okay. I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It is what it is. It was just, being a take on the character and allowing him to play something different. He was okay. It's not like it's a character that's staying around, since it was an alternate Earth, and they still haven't quite fleshed out how, there's these other versions of people, and, Supergirl or Flash still hasn't told us exactly what the multiverse remains, so it's still a little confusing, but, I'll go with it. He did a good job, but, it just gave him something else to do. Like when he was fighting himself, that was kind of fun. When he was inside. Yeah. I did like just the heart of the story about him confronting his dad and then taking on his moniker at the end. So, that was...
Yeah, that was funny how he was called. He said his name was Computer Lad.
I'm sorry. Anything with lad in it sucks. Sorry, Aqualad. Yeah. But okay.
I would say maybe Aqualad is the only thing. Well, that's why Calder went by Calder, not Aqualad.
Calderum. Because Calder was awesome.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, and then he officially repurposes the name and takes on the name of Toyman, and that'll be his. That is his name in the future, his hero name, where Winslow lives in the future, which is just weird to think about.
Right.
It's one thing to go and live and be a part of things. But yeah, completely just to create a whole new life in the future and be married and have a child. Like, it's pretty crazy. But
yeah,
I like this episode well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It just felt like it was very wind driven. Supergirl was in the back. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he did drive the episode.
I mean, that's okay.
That was,
I'm okay with that. Like with the characters, they exploring some of the side characters with really good stories, and he returned, which was nice. I mean, the only people who are on the show who are original cast members are Alex, John, and Kara. Everyone else is gone.
Yeah. This is true.
You know who I would like to see return? Maxwell Lord.
Right. Let's say they've had one name drop of the character since the first season.
So I would like to see Maxwell Lord return, but that's it. It is what it is, right? So I don't know. What would you rate this episode?
I don't recall what I rated the first one. There were parts I liked, parts I didn't. I give it about a 7.
Yeah, I give it a 6.5-ish.
Nothing that was. Yeah, nothing I hated. But just some parts where found myself kind of glancing down at my phone here or there.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here watching it because I'm like, all right, I need to watch this, and I'm just like, am I losing interest or what's going on here?
Well, sometimes we've talked about how these shows have so many episodes that there's a lot of filler. Mm-hmm. They stretch stuff out and they add dramatic irony just to fill screen time. And sometimes you get some episodes or more parts of episodes where you're like I could probably cut a lot of this out.
The worst was Gotham season 1 because it wasn't supposed to be like a full season, and then they gave it like more episodes, so they stretched out the ogre storyline for like 3 or 4 episodes. It should have never been that long, but we digress. So that's episode 99 of Supergirl in its 5th season. Can you believe it's already been 5 years?
That's pretty crazy.
I've been doing this podcast for over 5 years.
It's the only I don't know how many seasons did George Reeves have?
4 or 6.
So then that would make this.
Hold on.
I'm going to DC Universe to find out.
Quickly to our online resources because we have these magic bricks in front of our faces.
Yep. With all the possible knowledge you could ever have at your fingertips, and yet people are dumber than ever.
Because fake news, but I'm not getting political. But
6 seasons. Okay.
All right, so 6 seasons of George. Okay.
I was going to say this is the second Kryptonian show to surpass 5 seasons, but it will now be the 3rd.
Well, let's see. The longest running is
Smallville.
Then right now, we're going to have Supergirl and The Adventures of Superman tied. 6 seasons.
At 6.
We'll have to do it by episode.
And then Superboy and Lois and Clark at 4.
Superboy and Lois and Clark are at 4. But I think...
And Krypton at 2.
And Krypton at 2. But if we look... Hold on. Look up how many episodes Lois and Clark had, would you?
Yes.
You do that, and I'll look up the episodes.
Bear with us, listeners, while we do live research.
Dear listeners, we thank you for your patience and your time. Please enjoy the Krypton Report.
And say this is where we plug in the John Williams theme or the Hans Zimmer theme while people are listening.
So Superboy, which was a created for syndication, which is like a term that people don't even like understand really anymore. Where it was just created to be ran on a network, and it really wasn't created by a network, and it was shown at different times and picked up. It ran for 100 episodes.
88 episodes was Lois and Clark.
So Lois and Clark. So in that, so if we go by episodes,
22 episodes. 22 episodes for 4 seasons.
Wow. So if we go by, all right. So I'm looking this up. 6 seasons for the Adventures of Superman, but it was only 104 episodes. So if we go by episodes, Supergirl is going to beat the Adventures of Superman right now and become the second longest running Kryptonian show.
Nice. Well, you know how were seasons back in the 50s, you know?
Right. It was, much different. So that means it goes Smallville, Supergirl, The Adventures of Superman, Superboy, and then Lois and Clark. And then Krypton. God rest its soul.
So sad. Taken away too young, so early.
Just want to shake my fist at the sky. But all is to say, we are now at...
So we're going to fly to the Arctic, the mountains in the Arctic, and scream.
Like Dean Cain?
Yeah.
We are now at the 100th episode of Supergirl. And James, why don't you break it down and give us a little reading and tell us what this episode was all about.
So we've got a lot here. Episode 100, it's a super life. Mixus Spitlick approaches Kara Danvers to make amends for past transgressions and to give her a proposition. Travel back in time and tell Lena Luthor her secret before Lex Luthor can, so that the outcome will be different. He also explains that his previous appearance was a form that he took. After talking about it with Alex and Jean, Kara takes the offer as Mixer Spitlick sends Alex and Jean to a paintball course. While looking back at key moments throughout her life, Kara is faced with having to decide if she must alter history so that she and Lena can become friends again. One version has Kara dying of kryptonite poisoning. Another version has Lena and Mon-El being killed fighting rain. When it comes to Kara revealing that she is Supergirl when Lena moved to National City, everything goes well until Lena and Thomas Colville are abducted by the Children of Liberty as Agent Liberty provokes Kara to reveal herself to the public. She saves Lena and Thomas, but the Children of Liberty start killing her loved ones, starting with Cat Grant. Then Mixer Spitlick shows Kara a reality in which she and Lena didn't meet and that Mixer Spitlick's powers stopped working. Dreamer saves them from a Hope bot and brings them to meet with Alex, Jean, Wynn, Mon-El, and Kelly. It was revealed in this reality that Lena fought off Lex's assassination on her and took him out at the cost of half of National City. She started using the fifth dimension to harness power for her Hope bots while getting Rain and reprogramming Brainiac 5 on her side. While her allies fight Rain and Brainiac 5, Supergirl confronts Lena while Mrs. Spitlick goes to look for a hat that was taken from him by an old drinking buddy of his. Once that was done, Mixer Spitlick undoes the reality. As nothing seems to work out, Kara decides to confront Lena as Mixer Spitlick takes his leave while leaving a video about the day Lena and Lex started working together. Kara states to Lena that she can still help reality, as nothing seems to. That she can still help her get out of danger, and will be forced to take action against Lena if she continues to help in furthering Lex's plot. Kara, Alex, and John have food in their loft as Mixia-Spitlick's unseen presence watches from outside.
Boom.
a lot in this 100th episode. It's really cool to see some people back. We get Chris Wood back for Mon-El. I forget the actress back, but she is back as Rain.
Odette, Annabelle, or not? Oh yeah, Odette. Why am I drawing a blank? Dang it, Tyler! It's something Odette, Annabelle, Odette. It's late.
And
I have little children. My favorite was Mr. Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Sam Witwer's back. Yep, that was really awesome to see.
Lillian Luther.
Now I know the actor's name, and it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't, for the life of me, think about who was playing Mixie.
Dude,
and I know everybody says.
Thomas.
I know everybody says it a bunch of different ways. Mixopidalic. I tend to go with the way I first learned it in Superman the Animated Series with Gilbert Gottfried. Mixopidalic.
I just say Mixie. It's my cop out.
So, some
Thomas
people
something. And the last part.
So a lot of the in a lot of the issues that I've read and stuff like that, it kind of seems like the Fifth Dimension names are mostly I's in between the consonants. Mm. So when you read them, if you read them with mostly I's in between the consonants, that is like the sound you get, as opposed to trying to sound out all these consonants without vowels in them. That's the way that it has seemed in most iterations when I have read names of fifth dimensional beings.
Okay, I'll go with it. So my favorite part is just the retcon of Mixie. Where he's like,
I like that too.
It was so simple and it made so much sense for the character. It wasn't like forced or like, oh, it's because it's post-crisis or anything weird like that. And it was like, no, it was just simple. I took this form to impress you.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and this guy is so much better.
Oh, I loved it because, like, I even put in my notes the biggest problem I had. I would have even loved it if he made a wink that he was actually the Music Meister. Because the Music Meister episode is a Mixopidalic episode or a Batmite type episode. Okay? It's not like the Music Meister.
Yeah, they did change the Music Meister to another fifth dimensional being, as opposed to the Music Meister that you would recognize from comics or from, say, Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, which is the best one ever. So I just would have liked maybe if they had just kind of retconned that too and was like, it was Mixie. But no, I just loved it when he shows up. He says he's
he was still a fifth dimensional being, so I mean, if it were Mixie or not, but yeah.
And he just,
I understand.
This is my true form, And I was like, oh, I love it. I'm going with it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But
I think this guy is great, and I would love to see Mixie come back again.
Me too. I just liked his energy of just not only just the popping around, but just like when he like pulls out the film strip and he's trying to go through it.
I love everything he did. He had like Mixflix or whatever. Yeah, like Netflix, Mixopidalic Netflix. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
And then he says the beta. I have it all on beta. That's
yeah.
All, like, beta tapes. Did you? It's really quick, but he said I have your friendship on beta. And did you see some of the titles?
Yeah, they're all the one with they're like the friend. They're like episodes of Friends.
Exactly.
The episodes of Friends. They're like the one with this, the one with that.
Yes.
That's all of the tapes. It said the one with yeah.
And I got excited. I was like,
yes. I caught that. I love Friends.
I was like, yes. I was like, yes. I was like, this is great. And like just that kind of stuff he was doing, and like he's like, I'm really into this. I'm really taking this. Gotta see what happens. And she's looking at him. And he's like, oh, sorry.
And the way he was doing like that 1940s, 1950s radio announcer, and he had the clothing on, and he had the old microphone and everything.
I will say, okay, a couple of things. One, with him messing with time like it was, I'm not even going to rack my brain about how that works in a post-crisis world. How all that stuff was pre-crisis, that only kind of exists in their own minds, because the history is altered anyways.
Well, does the fifth dimension run on the same?
Well, fifth,
on the same plane as the third dimension.
I don't. I don't think it does, but at the same time, like even then, just if Kara goes back in time and changes something, that's a pre-crisis existence, like. So
right. Well, we also do kind of know that things have changed. Things have changed, but a lot of what had happened is still the same because the world was recreated by their memories and their experiences. So a lot of things did happen. I think the biggest changes were what Oliver changed himself.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of the events took place as they did. Some things can be changed here or there as retcons and use crisis as that retcon. But I think that the majority of everything that happened to our heroes did happen because the universe was recreated based off of their memories and their lives. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Otherwise, you're like all these years of things. Like, is there really any point to it? Well, yeah, they still happened.
That's kind of the debate over on Arrow that people have, and I get it. I see it both ways.
I think people are trying to make it too complicated. They're like, crisis now, like they can do anything they want. They can say anything that happened that we didn't like can be completely different. It's like, well, like I said, it's the universe wasn't just recreated and now it spawned something completely different. Like the way that the universe is set up, the CW verse, it's not like the comics where it's just where time for everybody and everybody's lives and things like merge to create this one thing, because it wasn't like that in the comic books. In the comics, there wasn't these 7 paragons who were there to focus their energy with Oliver's to rebirth the universe,
Exactly.
So all this stuff that they experienced and that was attached to their lives comes back and it all still happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think people are trying to make it more complicated just to get rid of whatever they didn't like. It's like, well, a lot of this stuff still happened because it was birthed from these characters that have been here since the beginning. So all that stuff still happened to them. So I think they're just trying to give themselves an out for things that they didn't like. Well, I don't think it's quite the issue 0 or issue 1 that everybody wants it to be.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to point that out.
And I wouldn't say everybody, a lot of people. Sorry.
Side note, why didn't Supergirl get a new intro? Like, the Flash got this really cool intro, and Legends got a really new intro. Supergirl's still just a title card. Why didn't she get an intro for herself, Just, and like, one thing I've noticed that I wanted to point back out is this episode didn't have it, but all the other episodes and stuff on the other shows are doing like a pop song in like one of their big fight scenes. So just keep that in mind as we continue watching all these shows.
They did something in a couple of these episodes.
But I mean, like,
in a couple of these
episode,
previous episodes when they came back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now, I don't recall it in this one.
It wasn't in this one, but since returning, I pointed that out that Batwoman and Supergirl both have done and Flash, I think, like a pop song during fights.
Mm.
But I just want to point that out.
Right. I really liked when they first got started and Mixie sent Alex and Jean to the paintball course and they just start shooting each other. And they're like, she's like, I love magic. And then they just go off and start playing paintball.
And I like, we see all the different ways that, like, Lena is traumatized. Lena is, like, damaged person. Like, the only way that she can do better is by working through this. Because if Supergirl had told her at any other time, we see that basically that no matter what, Lena and Kara have this, like, falling out that Lena will always blame Kara for something, and even when she's completely open with her and tells her who she is and everything like that, Kara blames her for Lena's choices, and Kara can't do that. She needs.
Yeah. That's what she finally learns in the end of this episode.
She can't blame it, like, she reveals herself to the world. And, this kind of got spoiled that there was going to be an episode where she revealed herself to the world. And at
least it wasn't what we were thinking that it could be, like, following the comic book storyline, like, exactly for Superman revealing himself. Like, this was in an alternate timeline where she reveals herself to the world.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here going, Bendis, enter Phil.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, oh, okay, we can do it here. That's like a safe out. It's a safe way of doing it without having to worry about, really impacting the shows. And it was cool to see all the other different, a world where you did this, or a world where this happened, or a world where this happened. And you're just like, oh, I'm going with this. All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty awesome to see, like, them go back and forth, them watching the timeline, entering in and out of the timeline. It's kind of cool to see Lena basically made herself a Metallo.
Yes.
We got
that line about how, like, basically, Lex very much succeeded in destroying her, and she talks about her brother did this to her, and she wasn't there to save her. And I'm like, she's not omnipresent. That's a big thing that we get with the whole Agent Liberty is that everyone wants her to be something more than what she is.
Yeah, the cult of Rao, how Agent Liberty's family basically committed suicide, believing that Kara would save them, and she didn't. And now he blames her for people's I don't know what you call it. I mean, I would say blind faith, but that doesn't seem right to call it that form of extremism. Acting like she's a god, and like, yeah, she is omnipresent. She couldn't be there to catch them. If she was there, she would have, so like, it's another reason for him to hate her. That's really, that's something beyond her control. He hates her just for being a person, blames her for his family's death when, his family's actions were their own.
Exactly. And that's what I get tired of, is everyone's like, you did this, you. And I'm like, no, people make stupid decisions themselves.
Yeah. And that's something that has been present for decades when it comes to Superman. He's one man, he's not omnipresent. And that's something that the character has to learn, that he can't be everywhere at once, that he can't save everybody, but the people he does save is enough.
That's always one thing I remember from just Smallville, where he's like, "I'm not a god." You know, I was like, "Yeah."
Right. Well, what is it? Second episode, maybe, of Lois and Clark, where Lex Luthor is testing Superman and basically convinces him to quit because he can't be everywhere at once. And if he doesn't quit saving people, then Lex Luthor will continue to hurt and kill people. And he has to learn that, saving who he can is enough, and stopping Lex Luthor is what's important.
Yes. I love Lois and Clark.
So,
it gets a little tacky towards the end, but still love it.
Oh, it was still a great show. I've been watching it again on DC Universe, so. It was pretty awesome to see the fifth dimensional hat back this season from last season.
Yes, that's what I was wondering. Was
the part I didn't get was he goes after the hat, but how did he lose the hat? So it's funny because like Mixie's always drawn with a little bowler hat. And come to find out, the bowler hat that Hat uses is Mixie's hat that he gets back in this episode. So that's kind of cool.
which was, it was awesome. So that's what because I said to Janine, I said, wait, Hat, and I said, was Hat in? That I was like, wait, was Hat part of the Elite? He was in the Elite, wasn't he? And I was like, yeah, he was. I was like, and then I was just like, oh yeah, it was the other guy that wasn't.
Yeah, it was the big lightning guy who wasn't there.
And I was like, that's awesome. Why Mixie doesn't have his hat, but yet here we are now.
Yeah, he doesn't have his hat. His hat was lost to him. And I do remember them saying that, Hat was using the hat. He was using the fifth dimensional energy to do what he was doing last season during the Elite episodes. So I was like, oh, well, that, we talked about that before. Like, that's pretty cool. It's fifth dimensional energy. Mm-hmm. They did discuss that. And now it's really cool to see, oh, well, that's Mixie's bowler that he's always drawn with that he hasn't had in the last two episodes Mixie was on in this.
So, it was really just fun.
Yeah. I think they did a good job in episode 100 here, doing some highlights of Kara's past. In a number of the seasons here. Obviously they didn't get everybody back, or they couldn't get everybody back. We had a cameo of Cat Grant on the TV. Just a picture of Callista Flockhart.
Hey guys, I know this is an abrupt stop, but just to make a quick announcement. So when James and I were recording last, we had like a freak technical difficulty where all of a sudden my computer just froze and shut down, and James was talking and we got some crazy stuff. So we're going to kind of pick up where we left off and track or say anything else out of context a little bit. It's just we're trying to get back in the headspace of where we were. Okay? So without further ado, back to Mr. Cole here.
I was talking about how they did a good job with the 100th being like a clip show. Yeah. To a degree, but also forwarding the story, bringing back some people in Kara's life throughout the 5 seasons, 99 episodes prior.
Couldn't have brought back Maxwell Lord, couldn't have gotten him back, could we? We could have.
Yeah, well, they didn't bring Maxwell Lord back. They didn't bring back any of the Elite.
No, they focused. What got me was they focused a lot. Because this is kind of from the point of view of Kara and Lena's relationship, they focused a lot on Rain, which in a way, if you look at the relationship model, is like a proto Kara, you know, with Rain kind of coming clean about what she's dealing with and everything, and Kara and Lena trying to help her and Lena helping her. And, you know, we see all these examples of where it might have gone wrong, where Kara could have, you know, saved Lena. They could have been besties up front. And I mean, you know, the one thing is like, and this, okay, so we kind of talked about this for a second. This episode kind of shows me the whole point of why I'm nervous about what's going on in Superman right now. Have you read issue 20?
I have not. I haven't been able to get to the store or really have the money to be able to pick up my comics right now.
There are other means of Googling. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I know. I haven't gotten around to that either.
But I support Superman and buy the book. Yeah. So, you know, in the part where Lena and Kara thrive, you know, Kara comes out and reveals herself as Supergirl. And even Jania, on a side note right here, said that scene was really awkward when she does the shirt rip. It just felt extremely awkward and kind of weird. Just the way they did it, the way she acted, the way they filmed it. And I was kind of like, yeah. Plus, that costume she has on is not supposed to react to the shirt rip. It's supposed to appear when she pulls her glasses off. You know, like kind of like the New 52 costume where it materializes.
Yeah.
It's not always active under her because she still wore her glasses. So there's a little glitch right there. But the thing is, once she reveals who she is, then all of Kara's friends are targeted and killed. And that's kind of like the whole Superman revealing that he's Clark Kent thing is. Now all of a sudden there's a target on Superman's friends' backs, and even though they can be like, oh, we can take care of ourselves, there are some crazy people out there.
Yeah. I mean, so what's going to happen? The different times that she reveals herself, there's always more dire consequences. You know, it kind of, by the end of the episode, it shows Kara that, you know, perhaps she was wrong to do what she did, to not trust Lena, who was a friend of hers, but also that she's not responsible for Lena's actions, Lena's choices, and that she will do everything in her power to make sure that to stop whatever Lena and Lex are working on. But as the episode goes, when she goes back different times that she tells her, there's like a time where the atmosphere is blanketed with kryptonite, and Lena isn't there because she's talking to Sam, and so she isn't there to help rescue Kara, and Kara dies from kryptonite poisoning. So, you know, every time she tries to tell her the different scenarios, there are even worse consequences to her and the people she cares about. So, you know, in the end, I mean, she's been beating herself up because her friend hates her, but hopefully here in the end, she can finally, you know, move forward a little bit now that she seems to, you know how CW can be, they'll backtrack on it and she'll start blaming herself again for what Lena's doing. But
melodramatic.
yeah, but hopefully, you know, there are some times that she doesn't blame herself for what Lena's doing, and she's able to, instead of trying to save the past, you know, she can try and either be her friend now, you know, or stop her because she's going down a bad path.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it just proved that, like, you know, Kara's at a rock and a hard place where it's like, were you ever going to tell me? When were you going to trust me? It's kind of like, well, it's one of those things, like, you got to try to find the moment to reveal something to somebody, and they'll either go with it or they'll always be mad that you didn't tell them sooner. And even at the beginning when she tells her is when we have the fallout. But
yeah, when she goes back and tells her at like the very beginning when she gave her the emails and stuff. I mean, they're friends and everything, but as time goes on, that's when it's revealed. That's when she reveals herself, and that's when everybody she knew and was close to gets killed, starting with Cat Grant.
Yep. And, of course, then that would mean Wynn and Jimmy. But even then, that's weird because, Jimmy already revealed himself to be Guardian. And, it wasn't like, oh, kill Guardian and all his friends. So I mean, it works,
Well, the story of Agent Liberty from last season.
Great to see him back.
Yeah, yeah, it was great to see Sam Witwer back. Like even as it was then. I mean, granted, his story, he had a lot of somewhat justifications, you know what I mean? And that's from a point of view of the way he lost everything due to alien circumstances. His family literally lost everything. And so, but in this one, he loses everything because his family is like following the Church of Rao and like commit ritualistic suicide in the hopes that she'll be there to save him. And we had already discussed her, the omnipresence of Superman and Supergirl. That's not possible.
I got thinking it would be a really kind of cool Superman Supergirl story. Do you remember when they did the We Are Robin story with Duke Thomas?
I know of it, yes.
Like, where it was just kind of like a group of, like, a street gang that were the Robins. And, how about we do a story about people that are doing good because they're inspired by Superman and Supergirl's actions? They're not a religious cult loop. They're not crazy. They're just people doing good because they're following the examples set by these other people. I mean, that's one reason I love the character of John Henry Irons as Steel. He was saved by Superman, and then Superman died, and he decided to kind of pick up where he left off and like try to, keep the same mission going. How about that instead of people being like religious zealots? But this.
Yeah. It's always the extremism and the drama that is quote unquote entertaining. And apparently not people actually doing the right thing, which, is why we idolize Superman and those ideals,
So I just recently rewatched Arrow's 100th episode, and that, fell during the Invasion crossover. And, it was another kind of like very similar, where it was, flashbacks or alternate reality scenarios because of the Dominators. And I think this plays out better because it's not part of anything else. I think Arrow kind of suffered for the fact that it was part of the invasion.
Yeah, I've actually got a thought on that, on Arrow, period. I was thinking the exact same thing about episode 100 and then being the final season of Arrow and being ending so close to the ending so close to Crisis. Like, man, Stephen Amell and Arrow got screwed a couple of times because their 100th episode had to be part of the crossover. So like they had to write the crossover into the 100th episode, and then his part of Crisis was was suffered because his show was ending and he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to put so much emphasis on that. So in my opinion, I think both of those episodes ended up suffering because they put 100 in the crossover then, and they were like literally giving everybody a chance to say goodbye to Oliver and the audience to say goodbye to Oliver in Crisis.
So I just looked up out of curiosity. I looked at the Flash's 100th, and the episode is season 5, episode 8, What's Past is prologue. And the summary for it is, Barry and Team Flash come up with a plan to stop Cicada. However, the plan calls for Barry and Nora to travel back in time to gather some key necessities. So just them going back in time, means they're going to hit certain events, relive certain things. And I should have watched it without thinking, just kind of catching up. But
yeah.
But yeah,
kind of seems like they're doing a similar, like they've gone a similar route when it comes to 100s recently.
It's like
with the Flash clip shows, They
wrote one template, and they're like, in each writing team was like, how can we do this outline better?
Yeah. Now, if you go back to like Smallville's 100, it was a monumental episode. It wasn't just.
Yeah, it wasn't like
look back at what. Yeah, no, look back at the greatest of the last 100 episodes.
It was the one where, spoilers for a show that's been off the air for 10 years. And that will make it 15 years ago, season 5, 14, somewhere in there. Enough that the kid's already thinking about driving, who was born the year that came out. Jonathan Kent dies in the episode. I don't like the way it's constructed that Lana dies and then Clark travels through time to save her and fix it, but when he does, it kills Jonathan Kent and he can't do it again. I just would have preferred someone just straight out died. Like, no time travel and consequences. Like, Clark chose to save Lana, and in him choosing to save Lana, his dad died. Like, I didn't need the whole do-over thing, But whatever. That's pish-posh. That's over. But
it did provide some good stuff for him moving forward,
Right. So this, provided a little bit of a stepping stone for Supergirl. But, the highlight of this 100th episode...
Yeah, that's why it was done well.
Mixie.
Yeah, that's why I think it was done well, is because it does still further the character of Kara. So,
now, did you get the impression that somebody was controlling Mixie? Because there was a line that said something about, oh man, I wish I should have wrote down the line, but I just got this impression that somebody, not that he was being punished, but somebody had some type of control over him, was forcing him to do good. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. But I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It was fun. 100th, I can't believe we're here. 100 episodes of this show. Sitting back, thinking about when this show came out. It came out the year my son was born. And just, it's kind of been in the background with all that. And then, here my daughter's about to turn 3, and she's watching it tonight. She asked me for Supergirl pajamas.
Awesome.
So yeah, I was like, all right, baby girl, get on that. Anytime your kid wants something that you also like, you're like, I'll buy that for you.
Yeah.
She's like, Daddy, can I have, she's like, Daddy, can I have Paw Patrol pajamas? We'll see. Daddy, can I have Supergirl pajamas? Let me pull up that online. Let me see.
Let me find that on Amazon or something.
All right. What would you rate this episode?
Well, let me say real quick about about Mixie. So I didn't feel that he was being controlled or anything. He does say that from what he did last time that he's restricted, that all he can do is make amends
Maybe that's
for things that he's done in the past.
That's kind of like, so that's kind of where my mom was like, okay, how was he restricted? Like, did somebody? Because I mean, I know that like
must just be some kind of fifth dimensional laws.
Because there's something in like, I have the book, part of Grant Morrison's story that's in the Action Comics New 52, and then part of it, carries over into Superman Reborn. Like there was, there was the princess, and Mixie loved. I'm trying to remember. Mixie loved her, and anyways, he had to follow some rules or something. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Because there's other, like there's a king in the fifth dimension and stuff too. So
yeah. So and there was a guy. He was like his letters or something combined, like called him mischievous or something like that. And he was in love with the princess, but she loved Mixie, and all the things that happened to Clark and Superman throughout time. That's when the issues, when you read them, like seem so, all the story seems so jumbled up, is because like all these things are happening by that other fifth dimensional imp to him over years of his life. So but once it all finally comes together at the end of the storyline, you're like, oh, okay. But like the whole time to get there, it's like, oh my God, like what the hell, what is going on? What is he writing? Like, God damn you, Grant Morrison.
I mean, the other night I explained Janita, like fifth dimensional interaction, the way that Grant Morrison explained it. And I'm like, it's so simple, but yet it will drive you insane. Because you're like, oh my gosh, that's how it works. Wow.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think he's like, under some kind of restrictive fifth dimensional laws, but I don't think he's like being controlled or manipulated in any way,
Okay.
But I mean, it depends on what you're saying as control. I mean, control as he's being forced to do this, like because of the fifth dimensional laws, then yeah. But like controlled like somebody else's actions, like his actions aren't his own. I don't think that's the case. Okay. But to rate this, I mean, as a 100th episode, I love the guy playing Mixie. The people they brought back.
Good to see.
For the episode, yeah, good to see. I like the way that they were able to organically make these stories. Mixie's stuff is really good. His mix flicks and his beta and his friends titles for all of Supergirl's adventures. Really good. I think I'd give this a 9 for a 100th episode. It was a really good one.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Oh, and I also put in my like post-apocalyptic, I really like seeing David Harewood in the John Jones Martian Manhunter outfit. Where it's just his face in the suit before they make the CGI, Martian Manhunter face. Like, I really like seeing actually the actor in the costume. So that was cool. But yeah,
it's kind of cool. He's kind of got, I saw that he's got a different outfit, kind of like he's ready for action. And I like that they're using the tower. They just pop in and out of the tower. I think I'm thinking of last episode when they were in the tower, but still.
No, they were in the tower for a little bit in this one because that's where.
Were they?
They had their like meeting about we're going to overthrow everything, and when they bring her Kara back and they're kind of catching her up, and they're like, "What's he doing here?" And she's like, "He's a good Mixie." So, all right. Well, good listeners, that's where we're going to put a pin in it. James and I probably will listen to this and be, we had more to say. But, the problem is this is a two-parter of technical difficulties. And
Right, 2 times recording and we missed something.
But there's always next time. So remember.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look at the sky.